Hello, everyone. My name is Sydney Edwards. I'm a public information officer for the Aurora Police Department, and on behalf of the department, I thank everyone for joining us here today. Now, there are a few reasons why we're holding this news conference. One of those reasons is because we are seeing an uptick in youth involved in crime in our area. We see the messages from community members when an incident happens. Some say, "This is too much. What can we do to change this? Why is this happening again?" We too share these concerns, and it's something our department is working on combating. Now, another reason that we're here today is to share the life of Phoenix Day. Phoenix was 13 years old when his life was taken from him, and it is with your help and the help of our community that his family will find some peace, some justice to this. Today you'll hear from Detective Nicholas Lesnansky on the case. Tabitha Denny, Phoenix's mother, will talk about her son and the life he lived with her daughter Sierra alongside her. And Investigation Division Chief Mark Hildebrand will talk on behalf of the department. After that, we will open it up for some questions. Detective?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Detective Nicholas Lesnansky, and I'm a detective with APD's Major Crime Homicide Unit. Just kind of want to talk about the investigation and the incident itself and everything that we've done since. So on the night of March 25th, 2023, at approximately 7:59 p.m., the Aurora Police Department received a 911 call reporting a shooting in the parking lot of the Town Center of Aurora Mall, specifically the Dillard's parking lot. Officers arrived in moments and later and found 13-year-old Phoenix Day suffering from 2 gunshot wounds. Phoenix was transported to the hospital, and tragically he was pronounced deceased at approximately 8:24 p.m. that night. Following the incident, officers worked to gather evidence and speak to the witnesses we were able to locate. The investigation has shown that Phoenix and the group of friends he was with was involved in a verbal altercation with another group of teenagers shortly before the shooting. As the groups left the mall with the intent to fight across in the movie parking lot across the street, Phoenix was shot twice by an unknown shooter. At that point, APD's Major Crimes Homicide Unit became involved in the investigation. Since the investigation has began that night, we reviewed over 100 hours of video surveillance, reviewed cell phone records and social media posts, which have led to several different leads. We've spoken to mall employees, shoppers, passerbys, and some of the individuals involved in the 2 groups that were having an altercation. We've also conducted numerous search warrants to include the home of someone of interest, but we do know that there are numerous potential witnesses who may have information about the homicide that have not been identified and spoken to by detectives. We are not going to arrest and continue to investigate this case.
Hi, my name is Tabitha Denny, and I am Phoenix's Date's mother. I want to say a little bit about my son and the kind of person he was before he was taken from us. Phoenix was only 13 years old the day he passed away. My son was such a strong little man. He has overcome so much in his life. He moved to Colorado 13 months ago to have a better life. He was so excited to finally be home with Mom. He was my best friend. Phoenix had a lot of challenges in his life, but that never stopped him. One of his biggest challenges was making friends and trying to fit in. He was always just trying to fit in. He just didn't know how. Phoenix was working really hard with a mentor who works with at-risk youth. We just needed more time. Phoenix was making big changes, and we were so proud of him. I will never understand why this happened to my son, but I do know that we deserve justice. I need to know what happened to my son. So please, if you've seen Phoenix that day at the mall, or you know anything about what happened to him or who did this, no details are too small. Nothing is going to bring my son back, but it will help to know that another family doesn't have to go through what we have. No mother should feel the way that I have felt the last 3 months. Thank you for your time today and everyone who has helped bring justice to my son, Phoenix Day.
Good morning. My name is Mark Hildebrand. I'm the Division Chief over investigations for the Aurora Police Department. Today, I will be speaking on behalf of the police department. First, I want to thank the media for being here to get this information out to the public. I want to thank Metro Denver Crime Stoppers for providing a reward for this case. I also want to thank Tabitha for coming up here and showing such bravery, courage, and strength by sharing Phoenix's story and asking for the public's help in getting answers in this case. I can't imagine the pain of the family is going through, and not having a resolution to this case makes it that much harder. That's why we're asking for the community's help. In the wake of this tragedy, the Aurora Police Department's Major Crimes Homicide Unit has been working tirelessly to find the suspect and get justice for Phoenix and his family. We're at a point now where we need the public's help. We want to give Phoenix's family some peace by bringing this case to a close and finding who was responsible for Phoenix's murder. If you have any information at all, we're asking that you do contact Crime Stoppers and provide that information. Crime Stoppers is offering a $4,000 reward for information in this case, and we're asking the public to step forward, and if they have any information, please call that tip line, which makes them eligible for the reward, and provide information on this case. We're asking the public to stand against violence. Youth violence is a crisis in America today, and the first step forward is the public partnering with law enforcement to help us resolve these kinds of cases that need their help, that need the public's help to do that. So please, let this family have some peace, and let us get the answers we need to bring closure in this case. Thank you.
We're opening this up now for questions.
What are some of the biggest challenges in investigating a case like this?
I think some of the biggest challenges in this case is just the sheer size of, obviously it took place in the Dillard's parking lot. That's a big scene in and of itself. It's a busy Saturday night. There's a million people out and about doing different things. So trying to track down everybody who may have a crucial piece of information, not think they do, tracking down every vehicle or every person that might have been at that mall that, again, may not think they have a critical piece of information, but that could be the one lead we need to identify the shooter in this case. Again, over 100 plus hours of video surveillance we have to review, social media posts from people just at, taking a selfie and might have something in the background that might be critical to us. There's hundreds of different things we could potentially be looking at. And again, that's why we're asking for help from the public. They might not necessarily think they have a critical piece of information, but if you're there that night, you might absolutely have that. So.
Any other questions at this time? Max?
You mentioned that you're seeing an uptick in youth crime. Are there any recent statistics that you could share quantifying that?
That's a good question. We have actually reached out to our stats team. They're still working on compiling more information up to this date. When it comes to violent crime, on our last statistics, that was up, I think it was 2.5%. There are some crimes, of course, that are down, and I know you've all heard us say that crime in general has been down. That is true, but if you're like us, you're seeing the same cases that we are, you're seeing the messages that we're getting, and it just seems that this is happening too often right now.
And one more question. I know you said that there were 2 groups involved in this altercation where Phoenix was shot. At this point, would the police department characterize either of those groups as a gang or a hybrid gang?
We would not characterize that at this time. I just think there's maybe too much involved or too little involved even to say whether these are gang-affiliated groups. A lot of these are young kids that maybe think they're being cool, maybe think that they're doing something that other people will find interesting. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are actually affiliated with these groups. So no, I would say we cannot say that this is actually gang-affiliated.
Either maybe for the detective or the division chief, have you been able to develop any ballistics evidence that tells you anything about the gun in particular, whether it's been used in any other unsolved crimes?
We We did recover numerous, I think 9 total shell casings that night. Those have been submitted for forensic testing and comparison. So that's part of what we're looking into for sure. As of terms of what it's been used and all that sort of things, that's still all being investigated.
Do you believe the suspect you're looking for is one person, multiple people, and do you believe they're a young person, or we just don't know any of that?
We're still working through that. Obviously, numerous people called in that night. There's quite a few different descriptions. They were consistent in that they believed it was a teenage black male. As of this point in the investigation, it appears there's one shooter. Obviously, there's still potential. Based on what we have, there's at least one right now.
Why now? Why are we asking for the public's help now, several months later?
Again, a lot of that, I think, just has to do, again, with sorting through the different, the large amount of evidence that we have and determining what has relevance, what has value, trying to locate people that can be located, verifying their information and their experiences that night. There's just been a lot of information to sort through, and now we're to the point where hopefully we're narrowing down the pool of people that were involved and that sort of thing. So people that we haven't talked to or haven't come forward that might have concerns about those sort of things, that would certainly be why now we're getting to the point where we're asking for the public's help.
Are the people pictured in the Crime Stoppers bulletin the only people that you're looking for that you think may witness this, or do you know others?
We're looking for anybody that potentially could have witnessed this, whether this specific group was one of these are members of the group that had the last kind of verbal interaction with Phoenix and his group. So again, we've only been able to identify a couple of those people and speak to them. Based on the video, they're clearly in the vicinity of the incident when it happens. So their experiences and what they saw that night would be huge in us helping hopefully solve this case.
Do we have any other questions at this time?
Technical question, Sierra, if you want to spell her name for us?
C-I-A-R-A, Sierra Day. Okay, thank you all for joining us.